Good morning. Raymond, are the mics on? Thank you. I think we're good to go. Raymond, we all set? Good morning. It is Wednesday, April 13th, 2011 at approximately 9:01 a.m. This meeting of the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority Board is now in session. Linda, any public comments?
No public comments.
Item 3, adoption of the minutes for the CRRMA board meeting of March 9th, 2011. Everyone's had an opportunity to review there. Is there any addition, comments, changes?
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Minutes are approved. Item 4, final update and presentation. I can't believe that we're at the end of the road here on Spur 601. It's a beautiful project. Final update and presentation on the Spur 601 Interloop project by the project developer, J.D. Abrams, LP. Mr. Burnett.
Chairman, Board, my name is Bill Burnett, and I'm with J.D. Abrams. And I guess before I go through this, I'd first like to thank the RMA for partnering with TxDOT and Abrams on this project. We couldn't have done this without your assistance, and I think all of us realize this isn't an Abrams project or a TxDOT project. It's an El Paso project, and I really think it complements Fort Bliss, and it really complements the community of El Paso. And without your assistance, we would not be here today giving you a final report, so we appreciate that. I'll go through these pretty fast. Stop me anytime if you want, or interrupt me anytime you have questions. I think most of y'all know where the project is. It starts on the west end at US 54 and travels north in the northeasterly direction about 7.4 miles to Loop 375. Crosses primarily Fort Bliss and El Paso International Airport property. This is kind of what it looked like when we started. It was just all desert.
Bill, just a second. I hate
Yes,
to
sir.
interrupt, but we don't have anything. Is there something supposed to be up on the screens, Raymond?
There should be, yes, sir.
Where would we be without IT?
I'll just watch it.
Ready?
Ready, set, go?
Yes. Sorry for that.
Not a problem. Like I originally said, it started on US 54, which is on the left side of the screen, and goes 7.4 miles to Purple Heart Freeway, or Loop 375. Primarily, this is the alignment as it looked in September of 2005, or I'm sorry, August of 2007. Just mostly barren land, like I said, Fort Bliss land in El Paso International Airport land. To give you kind of our schedule, segment A1, which was Global Reach and Walter Jones relocation for the city of El Paso, was open to traffic in August of 2008. The eastern 2 miles from Global Reach to Loop 375 was opened in May of 2009. Segment A3, which went from Airport Road to Global Reach, another 2.5 miles eastbound, opened December 3rd, 2009. The westbound direction opened about a year ago, this Friday. And then that part, which probably most of us know, is Fred Wilson, from 54 to Airport Road, was completed, substantially completed, and accepted by TxDOT on January 28th of this year. The project is substantially complete as of January 28th, which means TxDOT has the beneficial use of all the roadways, all the ramps. There are no more lane closures or anything out there on the project. And final acceptance of the project is scheduled for this month. All that is lacked out there this week is planting about a dozen trees. That was delayed due to the freeze back in the early part of the year. But other than that, the project is complete. What Abrams was responsible for was the design, the right-of-way acquisition, utility accommodation, the construction of the project, and delivering the project on schedule, which I know is important to y'all, since y'all financed the project and money was at risk if we were late. We're proud to say that we completed on time. I'll go through the right-of-way acquisition. We acquired 6 parcels, roughly 20-some parts. The first part was the Union Pacific Railroad, a large parcel from the Army, which was a transportation easement. We also bought 2 leaseholds that the Army had. Those were housing on Fort Bliss. Parcel 3, the El Paso Chili Company, was not required. We were able to realign the road, so we didn't have to take 54 feet of their building off. From the city of El Paso, there were 9 parts, primarily belonging to the water utility, PSB. The city of El Paso actually had some land where the animal shelter is. Sun Metro has a facility out there in the international airport. The only private land holding acquired was from the Humane Society of El Paso County. And then parcel 6 is actually what was Fred Wilson to take it out of the city's name as a street and add it to TxDOT as part of the highway system. We dealt with 14 utility owners. All the work is complete. You can kind of get a list. We had 2 water companies, 2 electric companies, because Fort Bliss has their own water and electric service. Cablevision, TW Telecom, which you probably used to know as Expedia, AT&T, the gas company, several petroleum pipelines, level 3s of communication, and Fort Bliss has their information system. At the peak on the project, which was in 2009, at one time there were 610 people out on the project. And I would point out, because Mr. Berry gets upset with me every once in a while when I say TxDOT had 15 staff out there. TxDOT and their consultant at that time, which was known as PBS&J, makes up that 15 people. During the inspection was Robert Kistner, who had 17 people. But at its peak, there were 610 employees out on the project. We had many partners, of course, yourselves, the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority, the Texas Department of Transportation, El Paso, the City of El Paso, Fort Bliss, the Army Corps of Engineers in Fort Worth. We had 40 major subcontractors, of which all were located here in El Paso. We had no other than the striping contractor that came from Phoenix that striped the road. All the subcontractors were El Paso companies. We had 27 major material suppliers. Things like steel girders and concrete beams came from outside of El Paso, but the majority of the supplies for the project came from the El Paso area. We also had a lot of small material suppliers like O'Reilly Auto Parts and Home Depot and stuff like that, local businesses where we bought supplies. And then, like I said earlier, we had a partner with 14 utility companies. The pass-through toll payments, you started receiving pass-through toll payments in December of 2009 on actual traffic. It was counted from May of 09 to December of 09 in segment A2. You've also have been receiving actual traffic payments on the eastbound segment of segment A3 in December and the westbound segment of A3 in April of last year. And starting January 29th of this year, you're into the minimum maximum payment. Your minimum payment every 6 months is $15.5 million from TxDOT. Your maximum payment every 6 months is $17.5 million. Right now, looking at the traffic numbers, you're not quite approaching the maximum payment, but it looks like shortly you will. As you drive out there, you see more and more traffic every day. This is, now I'm going to go through these pictures real fast. This is the west end of the project at US 54. The 2 ramps curving up toward the top of the picture take you to and from Alamogordo. The 2 ramps curving down to the bottom take you to and from downtown El Paso, or the Spaghetti Bowl down there at 10 and 54. These are the 2 ramps that go to Alamogordo. These are the 2 ramps that go to downtown El Paso. Continuing the ramps again, you can see the golf course that's on Fort Bliss. You can see the areas down there where we are landscaping the project. This is Marshall. The road going up to the north is the relocation of Marshall. It was moved to the west. You can see in the bottom of the picture where it used to be, where Fort Bliss used to have a gate. And Fort Bliss elected in 2007 to close that gate permanently. The building to the top of the picture is what used to be Amberwood Furniture. That is PSB property. Continuing on, and below the road or to the left of the road, you can see the National Cemetery, and I don't think you realize how beautiful the National Cemetery is until you get up on top of the bridges and look to the south. The facility to the north of the road is the animal shelter and Sun Metro's transit facility. Again, the building with the blue roof is Sun Metro. We're continuing down the road in an easterly direction. This is the Chaffee Gate at Fort Bliss. This is their commercial gate. This is Airport Road and Sergeant Major's Road intersection. Airport Road is the road coming in from the left-hand side of the picture, and going off to the right takes you to Sergeant Major or to the Sergeant Major Gate on Fort Bliss or on Biggs Army Airfield. This is continuing down the road. We're looking back to the west. You can see the Good Day to be a Soldier Bridge in about the middle of the picture, and then continuing down the road. This is still looking back west, but continuing east. This is now what was then raw Army land. You can see some of the new construction there on Fort Bliss, a daycare center and another facility. The elementary school is in the right-hand part of the picture, probably about where the pointer is. This little circle over here and this other stuff is stuff that Abrams built as a gift to the school for their cooperation. We helped them and El Paso Independent School District relieve the congestion in front of the school by providing another place for school buses to drop the students off and pick them up every day. This is Global Reach. You can see the road where the pointer is. I guess y'all can see it. Can y'all see the pointer? This is the relocation of Walter Jones. Walter Jones used to be up here. And then we extended Global Reach from this point all the way down to George Perry, which did not exist before. This is Constitution Avenue. This is the dividing line, or this is Constitution Avenue, and this I think has been named Burt Williams Way by the city. This is the road that will go to the new Beaumont Hospital that Fort Bliss is proposing to construct and is in the process of letting some contracts on. This is Loop 375. It used to be straight here. The alignment moved it over. And then this road going off in this direction was Army Corps of Engineers contract that opened access to the Infantry Brigade Combat Team Complex that has been built outside of Loop 375. I just like this picture, so I just put it in here. Now, how did we get there? This is the area where the designers worked. I think I showed you earlier we had over 75 designers in the project office. This is the multiple cubes and workstations that we had. There were lots of meetings, and there were a lot of meetings. I don't think I could count them all, but kind of what you learn with design build is you have a lot of meetings. To build a project, you start by putting in the underground work first, the drainage. You move the dirt. You lay the asphalt pavement on top, or if it's an asphalt road, if it's an asphalt and concrete road, you put the asphalt paving next. Then you put the concrete paving on top. The concrete paving on this project is continually reinforced. Most of the work on the project, almost all the concrete paving and most of the structure work was done at night. Some of it temperature related, some of it traffic related. It's kind of hard out here in the summer due to the specifications to place concrete when it's as warm as it gets out here. To show you how big the steel girders are, this guy is 6'6". And I think you can see here all these girders are bolted together. There's just hundreds and thousands of bolts that go together when these things get up in the air to attach them. These girders were made in San Angelo. This is the erection of the girders. You have the temporary shore towers to hold them until the next piece comes. You can see them in here flying a piece in. Again, you can see the bolt holes over here and the bolt holes over here. All this has to be bolted together. Here they are bolting. And again, like I said, a lot of this was built at night. Now, we set concrete beams at night primarily for traffic control so that we could close sections of Fred Wilson or other places we were working so we could fly the concrete girders up there. This is slipping rail. And of our 300 and some employees out there, every Monday we have a safety meeting with our employees. I will tell you that probably 98% of our employees, of Abrams employees, were El Paso residents. And we're proud of that. We're proud of our history that we were founded here in El Paso, and we continue to support El Paso and work here in El Paso. To tell you how many concrete beams we set 1,515 concrete beams. And of the steel girders, we set 68,150 tons of steel girders on the project. To tell you how much bridge deck we poured 27 football fields worth of bridge decks. We poured 23 in the bridge decks, almost 23,500 cubic yards of concrete. We have 3.6 million tons of reinforcing steel, and then the part of the bridge that overhangs on the outside of the bridges, we poured 6.64 miles of bridge overhangs. This, I know David will remember this. David was here back on May 29th of 2009 when we opened Segment A2. This is the opening of Segment A2. And this is kind of what the project looks like, and this is the sun rising on a new day here in El Paso because of this facility and everybody's cooperation. And that's kind of the presentation, unless y'all have any questions.
Just on behalf of the RMA, Ms. Burnett, I'd like to thank you and J.D. Abrams for delivering such an exceptional project to this community, on time, on budget, safe, with an absolute minimum of disruption to the motoring public that's going to affect this community for years to come. So really appreciate your personal involvement, really appreciate your update to the board, and again, thanks to you and Abrams for being such an excellent
And I'll
partner.
pass your kind words on, Mr. Chairman, to John Abrams.